Hey everybody, welcome back to day 6 of Carl's COVID Comics Challenge, where I read a bunch of back issues I purchased from my local comic book stores to help support them, even though everything is on shutdown, including new issues. This is something that you can do. I'm not going to talk a lot about it because these videos have been sort of long and no one is watching them, and it has been a rough day. So that mixed with the fact I realized that the views of these videos were very low, and I was starting to wonder if they are worth doing. And then I had 3 amazing comics yesterday. I drew 3 comics out of the bag today, and the 2 that I read, the first 2, were so bad I did not want to read a third one. And then I get to work, and it's a rough day at work. It's almost midnight. I'm leaving work a little bit early because it slowed down a little bit, and I took advantage of someone's offer to let me slip out early. And with the news as it is with comic book stores, it's just not an amazing day today. And we're allowed to not have an amazing day, just like I'm allowed not to have amazing hair in the middle of all this. So let's just get to business. The 2 comics I randomly pulled out of the stack that I purchased from Legend Comics and Coffee in Omaha, Nebraska, who will ship you comic books if you ask them nicely, and they will bring them out to the curb if you live locally, and they will sell you comic books out the drive-through window if you call them ahead of time and let them know that you are coming. Are these 2: Agents of Atlas, Cosmic Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. Again, I say this probably to remind myself more than the viewer, but I try to be positive with these because this isn't about tearing down the comic industry right now. But hoo boy, these are some bad comic books. Agents of Atlas, I don't even know where to start with this one. It is a group of 20-something heroes, most of which did not exist the last time I was buying floppy comic books from Marvel, which wasn't that long ago. Secret Wars, I think, is where I settled on when I was thinking about it earlier when I was talking to someone. And, boy, it's awful. It's super bad. It's a bunch of 20-somethings that get together. They're all cute. They're all hip in a way that has eluded me. They are youth culture personified, and they play the nation's game. They are from all the major centers of culture in the United States as we witness them now. Whereas in the early 80s when we did Challenge of the Champions, and they would have Ireland and China, now they have like 6 different representatives from Southeast Asia, all with their very unique backstory and culture to prove that we finally learned our lesson with that. It's rough. It's rough. And it would be fine if any of those customers, any of those superheroes, any of those characters were really all that interesting in this story, but they weren't, which is a problem with the team book if you're not familiar with the characters, and that's on me as much as anything. I'm told that Agents of Atlas was actually good. Well, it was better under a different management, but this particular series has been bogus, apparently, and I would agree with that. There is a backstory in here that I could not read. I could not read it. I could make no sense of what was going on, and by that point I was so exhausted by reading the main story I had no interest. The only person I really recognize in here is Silk. She is, one of the spider people. And then Amadeus Cho, who has Hulk powers for some reason. Again, that's on me that I'm not aware of this. Shang-Chi is listed here. He's a representative from New York City. And then there's Swordmaster from Shanghai, and Arrow from Shanghai, and Wave from Mactan Island, and Crescent from Seoul, and Luna Snow from Seoul. And then Jimmy Woo from San Francisco. It is introduced in such a way that it guaranteed I was not going to like it. Amadeus Cho and Silk meet on a beach. There's something going on. They sort of introduce themselves to each other. They should know each other. And they're kind of going through the formalities. And then Amadeus asks Silk, "Hey, you know Luna Snow, don't you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I guess. Why?" "Oh, I see. You want me? And he's like, no, 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 I'm not, hitting on her or anything, but she's super powerful and super important, and she's a K-pop superstar, you guys, and it's what they literally say in this comic book, and I just want to tear it in half. It's terrible. And then so that's how they go about introducing everybody one by one, by how cute and precious and special and unique each one of them are. They're all super powerful, one at a time, fight a dragon. Later on, when they're back at the base and the immediate crisis has been averted, even Amadeus Cho is chowing down on a big bowl of ramen noodles of some sort with chopsticks while he's talking. Everything about this just screams almost fan fiction to me. It is the Instagram Avengers, and I hate it so much. I hate it so much, you guys. Did not enjoy this at all. 1 out of 5. The art was good. The art was fantastic for the dragons, and the characters were fine. I've got used to characters looking like this. This isn't my sort of comic booking, but that's what they look like these days. And it was fine. It was good. It was good art, nice and colorful. The action was fun. Again, the dragons were drawn super cool. The backup story was straight up but 1 out of 5, man. I do not want to see another Agents of Atlas comic in a pile ever again. So, as a palate cleanser, got that one out of the way, went to number 2. Revenge of the Cosmic Ghost Rider. There's no way this can be good just from the title alone. Gave it a chance. It's got gorgeous art. It is bonkers banana gorgeous, and it's violent, but it's not violent as in gory. It's just violent and fun. This is like the Army of Darkness of comic books when it comes to the action. It's just bananas and fun, and the story is terrible. The character is unlikable. He's apparently a time-traveling Frank Castle from the future. He's blonde for reasons. He's also Ghost Rider for reasons. He's murdering and slaying anything in outer space. He used to be a Herald of Galactus, I think I picked up out of here. And after he murders all these Kree and Skrull and other alien baddies that are out on some sort of Supermax prison in outer space, he goes back to Earth, and lo and behold, he meets Frank Castle. And Frank Castle fights him to basically a draw, even though he tries to straight up murder him several times with these sort of Ghost Rider powers that just laid waste to creatures that should just squish Frank Castle. And Frank Castle has some gadgets and some tricks that allow him to hurt Ghost Rider in return, but it's the sort of thing that highlights why Frank Castle needs to just go away. If he's going to exist, he needs to exist in a better context. They make reference in here to him being Frankencastle, and they make a few jokes, and everybody has a good yuck about it. I hate it. I hate it. This comic book would be fun for someone who likes this kind of comic book. I can't crap on this comic book the way that I'm going to forever on Agents of Atlas. This was fine. It was beautiful. It was written the way a comic book like this probably needs to be written. Big, dumb fun. It reminds me of like Luther Strode type action. Big fights, lots of violence, lots of quips. The context in the Marvel Universe of who this is supposed to be and what he's doing, it's terrible. And it would have been maybe not so bad had I not read the Green Lantern comic book yesterday that was fantastic. And the fact that I read that Doctor Strange comic book, which at least took someone I wasn't interested in and gave me a reason to be interested in them. And then the other comic, which was heroes I'm already aware of, fitting exactly into a Marvel universe and relating to one another and their powers in the way that I expect. This was so freaking jarring and left field. And this reminds me of the one weird kid that when you're talking comic books in junior high happened to like Death's Head or something like that. This is just out there. This is for a very specific taste. God bless you if you like this. I bet you probably really enjoyed the heck out of this. I think it's a mini series. If another one shows up in my pile, I will read it. 2 out of 5. Not my favorite. I couldn't read the third one. The third one was Batman versus Ra's al Ghul, written by Alan Davis, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. I didn't want to tackle it. It looks super wordy and super 70s DC. And after reading these and being so sour, I did not want to tackle it. I'll add it to tomorrow's pile and see what happens. But looking forward to what else is in the bag. This is actually a pretty fun experience. Some days you get 3 winners and some days you get 0 winners. But it's a lot of fun. This would be a lot more fun if I did it more regularly, I think. If I was disciplined enough to actually sit down and read these things and not worry about keeping current with them and allowing myself to enjoy back issues, which is something that's maybe all of us need to learn to do right now to support these comic book stores. Again, Legend Comics and Coffee has made this possible by making these available to me. I emailed them. I told them what I wanted. I said, here's how much money I have. Done. They put it together. I drove through. I paid the nice lady. I got a coffee too. It was under $1, I think, even for just a black coffee, which rocked my world. And then I got some comic books, and I'm able to do this for a couple weeks and then go back and buy some more. I have some that I'm going to get from Menachem over at Escape Pod Comics in New York. He's going to mail those to me. I contacted him. We've talked about what I want to do. I gave him a dollar amount. Do you see a theme here? He's going to put stock that he has at the store already, matching my dollar amount, into a box, ship it directly to my house. And I'll get reading pleasure, the fun of opening and doing an unboxing, and reading stuff that normally I would have missed out on. Maybe it's okay if I would have missed out on Agents of Atlas Forever, but it was sort of fun. It's sort of fun to read it and just remember why the books that you like so much are so good, because there are books out there that are so bad and so not for you. Agents of Atlas might have an audience out there. I'm definitely getting into this get off my lawn age of life, and so maybe someone out there really responded to that. I'm not your Huckleberry with that one. One other thing I'll mention, other than Legend Comics and Coffee and Escape Pod Comics, I noticed today that Chuck from Mile High Comics did 2 things today that I noticed. Maybe they were done earlier, but one was he wrote a letter that's starting to make the rounds as far as the state of print comic books. No one likes to write an open letter more than Chuck, and they are things of beauty if you like train wrecks usually. And I think Chuck is a legitimate crazy person, but I respect the hell out of that business and what he's done and what his partners have done with that, and the lifespan that it's had, from stores in 2 different states and had multiple locations, and the way that they've contracted into one singular large location and have really pared back on showing up at the biggest cons and buying a huge percentage of new comic books. They've kind of told the story of modern comic books with the course of their business, and salute to him and his employees. I hope they find a way to get through here. They are offering grab boxes with some fun different themes. They're putting their staff to work packing up these 5-pound boxes of comic books. You can say you want all Marvel. You can say you want all superheroes that are code approved, which is code for stuff that's appropriate for your kids to look at with the superheroes they know. They're not going to accidentally see something that mom is really going to not like, even though it's Spider-Man or Thor in the comic. You can get all number 1s, you can get all Image, you can get a mismatch. There's all these different ways you can buy the box. They're putting together, they're having fun with them. I think they have a few boxes where everything in there starts with the letter A or the letter D, which would be a blast. If it's B, it's going to be freaking Batman. Oh, but it's so much Batman. But they're like $30, $40 a box. I think if you got a hold of Menachem, or if you got a hold of the guys over and the ladies over at Legend and said, I got $40, hook me up with comics, I think you could maybe do better than what they're going to send out from Mile High as far as volume. But let's not squabble here. I want to spread the joy around as much as I can. If for some reason you want a little variety you think it's fun to buy something that's truly from 4 decades of back stock, you might enjoy ordering from Mile High Comics. I myself did today. I ordered a $40 box. That's my tribute. Thanks for letting me spend so many hours poring over those big yellow pages in my comic books that I bought at Quick Shop and daydreaming about what it must be like to have a job and being able to just pick which comic books you want to read and looking to see how much it would cost to fill in the holes in my Fantastic Four collection, realizing that there was probably like 20 issues in between the last 2 issues I bought or something like that, and just having a lot of fun and looking at what they're getting for prices and assuming that what I had all beat up inside a portfolio folder that I carry to school is worth as much as they're saying, and seeing what the hot books are and why is G.I. Joe #2 worth more than #1, and all those fun things that were enabled by looking at things like the Mile High ads in comic books. It's very meta. They changed comic book distribution. They became a part of comic books, which is very interesting in itself, and in the way they're paying the price for all the bad decisions that collectors and retailers have made and enabled over the years. So they're a space opera happening in real time, and $40 is definitely worth it. They're eating the shipping on the boxes. So again, I prefer you to go to Legend. I prefer you to go to Escape Pod. I think both those places will take care of you. But, we're all in this together. $30 or $40 sent out to Mile High to get your one box. Say you did it. Something we'll all talk about. Maybe we can do some box breaking and discussion online. It's kind of a fun project. Don't neglect your local stores, but if you got a little extra income and you want to do a little weird experiment with me, order a box from Mile High and let's see what we get. That's enough. I'm starting to have hiccups. I'm barely awake. People are overdosing in alarming rates right now, faster than COVID is being diagnosed in Nebraska and Idaho and Wyoming. So I'm a tired man. I'm working every day. Thank God I still have my job. I'm getting a check. I'm able to put food on the table as long as there's someone to sell me the food. I'm able to buy comic books as long as there are comic books and there are people willing to sell me comic books. And that is what this challenge has been all about. Making sure that the people that I love and I would refer to as my family, Menachem and Wendy and Jason and Champ, who I just sort of know, but I love her, and Dave, all these guys and girls that supply me with both friendship and commodities that help me escape day-to-day life and keep a tether to my childhood and feed my imagination and enable me to do these super popular videos that 2 or 3 people watch. So anyway, I'm rambling. I can tell I'm rambling. I'm a motor mouth. Maybe that's part of the problem. I love you guys. I hope you're all finding a way to make sense of all this and to stay entertained and stay positive. Today was the first day I didn't feel positive. I hope it comes back tomorrow. I have some ideas of what I'll have to do to make that happen. It almost always involves doing nice things for other people. If you feel like a piece of garbage, you feel like life really sucks, just do something nice for someone else, and it starts to turn that around. That sounds like Pollyanna. That sounds like Mary Poppins psychology, but it's true. When you do something out of just no motivation other than to help someone else, it really kind of helps put life in perspective, and it's what we're here for. And sometimes helping someone else out is changing a flat in the rain. Sometimes it's buying a box of comic books. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be healthy and happy. If you have family you're hunkered down with, have patience with them. Understand that we're all anxious. Some of it's more vague than it is specific, especially with the little ones. Help us all to just love each other, give each other space, and try our best to get through this. Until next time, this is Carl. Goodbye.